Welcome to Content Camp.
And we're at the Paramount Theater. We're gonna go see a silent movie
called The King of Kings.
Hello everybody, and indeed, welcome to another edition of Content Camp. Today our special guest is Mr. Rich Jorn. He is the executive director of a theater in Anderson called the Paramount. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. So I want to start before you really joined the Paramount Theater. I want to start at the very beginning and see just what the history of the theater is.
The history of the theater.
Yes.
So it opened August 20th, 1929. So, and if you know anything a little bit about history, later that year, the stock market crashed and we spent, the next decade or so in the Great Depression. But this was finished just before that. And the first film that they ever showed, first event there on August 20th, 1929, was the Marx Brothers, The Coconuts. Now, you guys have no idea what that is.
Well, you'd be surprised.
Okay. The Marx Brothers are a famous old-time comedy troupe.
Yep.
They were hysterical. You may not know them, but your grandparents do. And if you get a chance to watch them and all that, just check them out. But that's how it started. And the theater was built to be a movie house and a vaudeville house, because back in the day at the time, instead of having a lot of bands and concerts, which is a lot of what we do now, vaudeville acts would come in and out and travel, and that was kind of a variety act. So there'd be some singing and dancing and skits and jokes and all that, So that's kind of the start of the theater way back then. Now, from 1929 to 1989, the theater had 6 different owners. Over the years, not every owner could keep up with the expense, because you guys have been in there, so it's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful space. But by 1989, it was falling apart. It was pretty much a condemned building and really very, very close to being torn down. And somebody who worked across the street in one of the law offices got wind of it, called up a bunch of friends, and they started petitioning the city to keep that from happening. They were going to tear it down and build a parking garage right there. So some people say it was within days, some people say it was within hours of being torn down, but they stopped it. They actually lobbied pretty hard and bought the deed from the city for $1. And the lady that was putting it together forgot her purse, so she had to borrow $1 from the city councilman so they could pay for the deed. Now, they paid that back, but then after that, the real work started, because that renovation cost, millions of dollars and millions of volunteer hours, just so much work. A lot of research had to go into, because over the years, the various owners had painted things and changed things, so it wasn't what you see now. They had a section that they were able to uncover where they discovered the original paint scheme, and they took detailed pictures of that, and they got a hold of the original, one of the companies that was involved with the original construction way back when, and they were able to match it back up. So what you see there today is what it looked like in 1929.
Wow. So was it all handcrafted, or was there some machine parts? Do you know that? Or?
So a lot of fabrication happened, but not necessarily like you would think so today. So what made these style theaters available in that time was theaters in Europe in those in the old days, and the ones that you look at, they would use like stone and granite and marble and all that. So they were using, to build so many of these theaters in the U.S., they were using plaster Paris and making molds. So a lot of that stuff, where instead of fabricated, but it was fabricated, but it was like in molds. So we have when something gets messed up or something, we have molds, and our restoration director, Jim Abraham, he'll go up there and make a new piece and then repaint it and put it back up there as needed. Now, that doesn't happen too often, but we have various, you'll see like on a corner piece, there'll be a little design that doesn't really mean anything to anybody, but that's the original design. Mm-hmm. And being able to either get some of the original molds or replicate those molds to what they were, and then, it's plaster Paris and then painting it and putting the right texture on it. And so yes, fabricated, but not in the way. No, that's okay. I can ramble on and on and on. But so yes, fabricated, but not in the sense that you think of today.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. With all of these, like, there's so much detail that goes into this theater. Are there other ones like it, like in the world, in Indiana? Because it just sounds so unique.
So our theater was designed by a gentleman named Eberson, and some people say Eberson. I've heard Eberson and Eberson, and for some reason I like saying Eberson. But and at the time, he designed a lot of theaters and also sold his designs to other people. So there were hundreds of theaters and like that. Now, our theater is what's called an atmospheric theater. So when you go in, you're supposed to have the feeling that you're outside, but in a Spanish courtyard. Okay, so that's why you see the walls look like the exterior of a building, and the ceiling is that beautiful sky with the stars. You see that, and again, that's called an atmospheric theater. So of the hundreds of those that he designed and that were made, there are 12 left in the United States. Wow. So yeah, absolutely. Now, Indiana has another Eberson design up in Fort Wayne. It's not an atmospheric, it's more of the dome design, but it's still the same beauty and craftsmanship. But there's a lot of beautiful theaters in Indiana and that have survived. Of those, the sad story, the truth of the matter is a lot of them were turned into parking lots. They were, it doesn't get taken care of and gets run down. We have a theater right down the street from us, the State Theater, that is a beautiful structure. Again, it's not atmospheric. It's the dome style. It was built in 1930, and it's sitting there empty because the amount of money it would take to redo it and open it up again, it's hard to find somebody that's interested in doing that. Plus, it's one block down from us, and we're in business. We've been in business for 30 years since the renovations. Mm-hmm. So there's also another little thing that's special to us. You guys came and saw King of Kings.
Mm-hmm. They did. I wasn't able to be there.
Well, you missed out, but we'll do more. We'll do more, I promise. So we have the Grand Page organ. Which the Grand Page organ, now there are other organs, but that's the brand, the one we have. But there was a ton of them throughout the time. There are currently 3 Grand Page organs left in the world. 2 of them are in their original theater. We are one of those 2. And the third one got moved off to, I think, Florida or someplace. So that's something we were able to restore and keep alive. Now, when you watch that film, we do a silent film series, which I'm so happy that we're able to bring that back, because that's a different movie experience. You know,
Yeah.
you saw that. It's like, this isn't like going to see a movie. It certainly isn't like watching a movie sitting on your couch, you know.
Yeah.
But even having the sound come out of the walls, because the organ's hooked up to an air system that sends the direction to each. I mean, there's pipe organs that makes the whistles and sounds and stuff like that, but there's also like there's car horns and train horns and xylophones and a snare drum and telephone rings, and there's all these little gadgets. The whole a theatrical organ like that is like a full symphony on right at your fingertips, you know.
Yep.
And you watching the person perform that during that's a show within itself.
It must have been common or not to have an organ way back in the day when those theaters were normal.
Very much so. So, again, going back to the silent film era, they would send the movies out to town to town to town, and some of them would have note-for-note scores for the organ player to do it. I mean, some smaller places would try to keep up with a piano, but an organ is literally so much more than just playing those keys. There's all the other special effects that go along with it. So they would send those out. Now, some of them, it would be a note-for-note thing. Some of them were like, here's a theme, repeat it throughout. And others would be, hey, just wing it and see what you like, you know?
Yeah.
So, but here's the interesting thing about that. You like a film. What's your favorite movie?
Waiting for Guffman.
Waiting. I love that. I love
That's a
Waiting
good
for
pick.
Guffman. That is the city of Blaine, stool capital of the world. Anyways, but imagine going to see that from a different place to a different place, and the soundtrack was different. The music, the underscore was different from place to place to place. So back in the silent days, you may have a completely different feeling about the movie because maybe your musician wasn't that good or was fantastic, you know? And really, if they didn't like the film, you know, maybe they didn't put their all into it. If they really loved it, maybe you got a great symphony of sound that came through it. So not only was the quality of what the director and the actors did somewhere else, you know, backlot in California, their work got put together, but then the success also kind of locally weighed on who was playing the organ. And the organ was very much a big part of that throughout all the silent movie venues throughout the U.S.
Yeah, I think people even like, I don't realize how much the soundtrack impacts the movie
That's correct.
until you really pay attention to it. Like, I'm in band and we'll play pieces from movies, and I won't realize, like, wow, this is really epic. This totally fits with the scene. And so I think when it's like that kind of performance within a performance there, I think that makes that really special and unique. And
Yes.
it's like kind of part of the heart of the
And I
the
love,
movie.
Of course, you know, you love the marches. You love, you know, the Imperial March when Vader
Yeah.
comes out, you know, and it's like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
this is big and it's happening and all that. And it's, you know, or a big song comes on if it's not orchestral, but it's, you know,
Yeah.
like a popular song. But I love the subtlety. You're watching a scene and something like that, and you feel a certain way, and I'm hearing music. The underscore, just kind of the filling up the void of the silence,
Yeah.
you know. I think that's great. And early on in my career, I worked at a children's theater, and every show we did, whether it was a musical or not, we had a band in the orchestra pit that played underscore and transition music from scene to scene. So most folks these days, when they do a play, it's just the play and that's
Yeah.
it and all that. But or they'll play a cassette player. But even if it was just a straight comedy or dramatic play with no songs whatsoever, we still had a live 5-member
Yeah.
in the pit, you know, that did that underscore, which really made a difference, you know. And in the film industry does that better than anyone because
Yeah.
there's music everywhere. But yeah, that's great, and I love that you're doing that in the band. That's awesome.
Yeah, we play a lot of music from scores. I mean, I play the trumpet, so I've played
there you go.
Cantina Band so many times.
There you go.
So I get a lot of the good melodies.
Are you coming to Star Wars Day?
I might. I think I have school. What day of week is that?
It's a Sunday. It's Sunday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you is our Star Wars Day. We're showing all three, not to turn this into a commercial, but, we're showing the original trilogy. So at 1, we're showing Star Wars A New Hope, but back in my day it was just Star Wars because I'm that old. And then at 4:30, we're showing Empire Strikes Back. And then at 8, we're showing Return of the Jedi. So that's kind of a long day, but we're required by the powers of George Lucas and Walt Disney that we have to have an hour and a half between each movie. But in between that hour and a half, we're going to have Star Wars trivia. There's opportunities. We're going to have food trucks parked out front. We're going to have maybe some lightsaber displays. We got a guy that has a Star Wars toy shop that you can go and just play with the toys or maybe even purchase some of them. So
My dad would really enjoy that. He's a big fan.
Yes, absolutely. As he should be. As he should be. And, you know, we just want to make sure everybody just like, this is the best day ever.
Yeah.
Come on out and enjoy
I mean,
it
who
together.
doesn't love Star Wars?
And again, seeing a film in a packed theater is so much better than seeing it on your couch.
I
Nothing against.
100% agree.
I'm not anti-couch. But I don't want the couch lobby calling you guys and saying, why'd you let them come on? I am pro couch, but movie theaters are better.
I love movie theaters.
Yes, absolutely. And we were originally designed as a movie. Now we do movies. We do the silent movies. We do some, like Christmas. We'll show Christmas Vacation. We try to do a lot during Christmas, but it's just so many things going on. It's hard to find an open date. Last year at Veterans Day, we showed Saving Private Ryan. So we try to be thematic and do that, but we do like White Christmas and It's a Wonderful Life. We do all those and some contemporary ones as well. Christmas Story is one of my favorite. And throughout the year, like last summer, we did Wizard of Oz one week, and then the next week we did The Wiz. I like doing that. And then again, we have all the contemporary concerts that'll come through that you'll see, whether it's a band, country, rock, a comedian. We have various local groups that use the facility. The AYBT, that's the Anderson Young Ballet Theater, and every year they do the Nutcracker. And that's like a tradition. There are people that their kids are in it, but they were in it when they were kids, just year after year after year. It's such a great space for that.
Yep. I remember the first time I walked into your theater. I went and saw Brian Regan,
Yeah.
the comedian.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That was just after I got there.
Yeah, and I don't think we didn't really know what we were walking into. It just happened by chance. But it's this huge, amazing theater, the beautiful sky, and you were playing this song. It was some jazz song. There were no words, but it was before the show started. And you loved it so much. So I had to find out what the song was. It's now on your playlist. It was called Shine It. I don't know who wrote it.
Yeah.
But it's
All jazz is good.
Yeah.
All jazz is good.
But how do you find an organist? There's got to be very few people that do that.
So we are blessed in the fact that we kind of have 3 in our repertoire. We have our local guy. He's 91 years old. His name is George Smith, and he used to play the organ at a roller skating ring years and years and years ago.
Whoa.
So when you go roller skating, the music wasn't like a DJ. It was him playing the organ. And then he has a music shop there in Anderson, and he teaches piano, he teaches organ, he does those things. He's a super, super guy. And every year he'll do an organ concert at Christmas. It's part of our Festival of Trees Christmas celebration, and he uses all those funds to put towards the upkeep, the organ fund, the upkeep of the organ to make sure we keep it tuned and because it's it's coming up on 100 years old. So
Yeah.
it takes a lot, and it's not real cheap to just run out and get that part or get something fixed. So we're just blessed to have him. When I show a regular movie, he'll play before. So you get a little mini organ concert before that movie. And then we do silent films. I have two guys. One, his name is Ken Double, and he's out of, I believe, Atlanta. He usually plays at the Fox, and he'll go and tour and come out here. We've had him out there a few times. But our main guy is Clark Wilson, and he's out of Ohio. And he does a great job for us. We've got, of the movies, we got the silent films selected. We picked 5. We got 4 left. I worked with him closely about the ones he likes, the ones that is in his repertoire, and also what he knows, because I'm kind of new to the organ game. I've been in theater my whole life, but the inheriting an organ was new. So I kind of looked to his expertise and what he thinks audiences respond to and what they like and all that. So we do a lot of the comedies are great and people love them and all that, but a lot of places will ignore the dramas and the actions. So I try to do a good mix. Like the next 2 movies we're doing are both Buster Keaton films, The Cameraman, and then the one after that is Steamboat Bill Jr. But then in October, we're going to do Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the silent film. And then next January, we'll be doing the Mark of Zorro. So we've got a nice, and like I said, we just did The King of Kings. So some drama, some comedy, some action, some horror, and so it's a lot of fun. But those are our primary organ players. There is actually a group of organists that kind of have their own little meetings and talk, and they are on websites together that play organs for films and the old theaters like mine, or for churches and all that. But they're very passionate people, and as they should be. Like there's a guy, George Smith's son, who's our piano tuner. I was saying, do you think you ever want to play the organ? He goes, I can't. There's a delay. He said he can't wrap his head around, because a piano, you hit the key, the note comes out immediately. When you're playing the organ, you hit the keys, there's a delay before that travels and comes out the side. So he can do all the notes, but it drives him crazy. So it's those people that have mastered it are amazing. The men and women that are organists that do that. So if you see one, really understand how talented they are, how insanely talented they are, and how good they are.
Yep.
You talked earlier about like how some theaters would give you like a direct score, or some people would just wing it. What do you guys do at your theater?
Well, that's where I work closely with, especially Clark Wilson. And so when we pick a movie that we're going to do, we kind of collaborate and talk about what the film is, and even a lot of times which version. So, for example, King of Kings, there's actually 2 versions of it. There was one that was released in 1927, and then another release in 1928. The difference is about an hour.
Oh, wow.
So the version you saw was the shorter version. So, and it was still, like almost 2 hours. The other one's almost 3 hours. So that's a lot to put an audience through. It's a lot for him to do. And he had a better handle on the score for the shorter version and all that. Now he could play the longer version, no problem, but you probably would have had to add another intermission in there, and and we did it on a Sunday. So how long do you keep people? We want to make sure they can get out in time to go to the Sunday evening service and all that. So, but yeah, we just collaborate together about what's available. And and again, sometimes they have an idea of what it is, and sometimes they enjoy winging it. Sometimes they'll work in some various things and update some things. Like if you remember Clark talking about before King of Kings, and it's easy to reference that because it's really fresh in my mind, but he said, I had to update the score because there are some things that was in the original score that watching it now sounds funny and takes away from the mood of the theme of the film. So he changed and updated some things so it didn't sound so corny at times.
Yeah.
So, and that's just trying to be true as a historian, but also being true as an artist.
Yeah.
And he does a great job of both those.
Mm-hmm. What does a everyday at work look like for you?
Well, I start my day before work. I get up and walk 2 dogs. Make sure that guy there gets ready for school. I drop him off to school, and then I head on in. And the first thing, it's like emails. I get all my emails. My phone buzzed here on my leg. I probably got 4 emails just sitting here, but various emails, and answer them and get back to that. So a lot of it is planning what's next, but planning what's next a year from now. Some of it's like, oh, this popped up. Can we fit it in? How much time we have. A lot of it is cultivating relationships with people in your community. I'm relatively new. I've been there a year and a half, but I moved here for the job. So I don't know. I didn't know anybody prior to that. So coming in green, and I'm still trying to remember everybody's name. I go to Rotary and meet people there. I stand out in the lobby, but throughout the day, I'm doing budgets, I'm doing scheduling, but not only individual for each show and each event that we do, but also like we're in the process now, we're starting to budget for the entire year next year. So but that year next year is, you're trying to budget what may or may not happen and fitting in with individual event budgets. Plus, once a week we have a staff meeting where we all touch base and go over all the various things. Because in a week's time, sometimes we'll have events going on, 2 different events going on at the same time. Because we have this ballroom up on the 3rd floor, and we had a thing. We had a concert. Richard Goodall was there. The guy who won America's Got Talent. Yep. So he was performing on stage, and then up on the 3rd floor, we had the community hospital was doing a donor thank you event up there. So we had people coming in the wrong door. Oh, you want to go down over there? We had people, 2 different people looking for, oh, I got my ticket, and all that. But we had to make sure we had enough staff, and, everybody they had their food and drinks up there. We had what they needed down here, and try to make sure nobody collides and all that. But we do it, and I came again. The staff that I have is the staff that was in place when I got here. They're great people. They know the space. I just hope to keep inspiring them, and I make the place busier. That's my goal. I'll say this till they want to tie me up and throw me in a closet and make me stay in there till I pass out. But a busy theater is a happy theater. That's my motto. And the busier we are, the more people come, the better things are. And I want everybody in the area. If you're in that theater, yeah, I'm honored to be the executive director, but it doesn't belong to me. When you say your theater, that kind of feels good because it's like, oh, I work there. I am the caretaker in this moment of time of this exquisitely beautiful place that I want to make sure that everybody that's within walking, driving, flying distance can come experience. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, hey, we're open, come take a tour, but I want to bring stuff there that interests me. I want to come see that. I want to check that out. So it becomes a programming thing. So how is it? The people that come, great. I want them to keep coming, and I want to keep that coming. What about the people who don't show up? What about the people who haven't been inspired, haven't seen something in an ad or social media that says, hey, that's for me, I want to go check that out. So that's the reaching people that aren't on your radar. That's the goal, so they can come in, because I believe if you come and you see a show there, you'll fall in love with us. You absolutely will.
So where can people find your theater?
Well, do you want street directions or you want a website?
Whatever works.
Whatever. So I'll give you our website. We're andersonparamount.org. So there are a lot of Paramount theaters still in the U.S. because basically when it opened at the time, Paramount, they built theaters to show movies made by Paramount. So, and there's a lot of Fox theaters, because there was a guy who built a Fox theater in Detroit, St. Louis, Atlanta. You're probably leaving somebody out there, but so that was the ownership group. Well, it was owned by Paramount back in '29, and when different people owned it, they just kept the name. So ours, we're Anderson Paramount. So AndersonParamount.org.
Okay.
So you put in Paramount.org, you go somewhere else. It'll be another theater. So that's how you can find us there. And we're downtown Anderson.
Yep. So your next shows, I believe, are May 4th, the Star Wars trilogy.
Next from when? I have a show tomorrow. I got a show Friday.
Tomorrow. And then May 4th, and then the one I'm not missing, May 10th, Buster Keaton, the cameraman.
The cameraman, yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
I'm super excited for that. So check it out. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it is really my honor to come in and talk about this theater. That and I wasn't even looking for another job when I heard about this, so it all fell into place, and it just feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. Kind of every serendipity.
Yep.
But I've loved talking about her. She's a great building, great theater.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. We're so happy to have you. And yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Content Camp is for kid creators here in Indianapolis. If you want to watch the whole show, check out our YouTube channel, simply called Content Camp. If you have a kid past 5th grade who might be curious about what it's like to work on a real live video crew, please reach out to us at producer@contentcamp.kids. That's producer@contentcamp.kids.